Hmm. Hey, Steve Twist, are you out there? Do you have a microphone? No, maybe nobody wants to. Maybe nobody wants to talk. Uh, yeah, you can raise your hand down below using the raise hand. But I was planning on Ronald. Ronald. So, Ronald, do you have a? Let me try it. Okay, Ronnie can hear me. Okay, John can hear me. So you guys can hear me. Good, good. Okay, so a lot of you just don't have a mic. Okay. Because I was going to say what we were going to do is after we did an overview here, we were going to open it up for questions. So if chat works for you, that's fine. Or if somebody has a microphone and wants to chime in too, that's fine. Since there's not a lot with microphones, I'll just leave everybody unmuted, and we'll get started. So John and Ronnie, if for some reason our audio goes down or you can't hear us, let me know so we can make sure everybody's hearing us good. Mark, can you say something? Something? Out there so they can.
Okay.
There you go. Ronnie, can you hear Mark okay?
Hey,
Mark?
Ron.
Or John?
Or anybody, yeah.
Okay, good. All righty then. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for coming and joining us today. Most of you had filled out an interest form, and we're happy to have you join us. And Mark and I've been working on this thing for quite some time, and we're just excited.
Forever.
Yeah, we use this in our business, and we're real happy to basically make it available to everybody. So we're just going to give you a quick overview. We don't want to get too drawn down into minute details. If you want a more advanced, breakdown, we don't want to keep you too long. We want to just give you a quick look-see and let you know it's available. The product's called BlueDAG, and it is a SaaS-based or a web-based evaluation reporting software. So you can use it to keep track of all your reports and your when you're doing your ADA reports, CASp reports, those kinds of things. We also have a mobile component that ties into that and syncs with your system. So when you have the potential going out to the site, the mobile app to do an evaluation, take pictures and so forth. So really that's what it's all about, going out to a site, capturing barriers, violations, whatever you want to call them, photos and as-built of various accessibility barriers, violations, and then capturing all that data and putting it into a nice report for your clients. So our website is BlueDAG.com. If you haven't seen that, go there. There's pricing options. There's videos. Our tech company's done some videos on the YouTube that show it, but we're going to kind of go into a little bit. And those videos are real great for a good overview, but we'll kind of go into a little bit more detail and kind of explain it here. So before we get into the platform, what I want to show you is what it actually produces, the end result, and that is the end result is some kind of a report that you can give to your clients. So I've created this bogus company called ADA Assurance. Down here, you can see the logo in the bottom down here. This is all customizable. So whenever you sign up and put your company logo in there, your phone number, your web address, that will populate based on your company or your consulting business and so forth. So when the reports are produced, they're branded for you as an accessibility consultant. Secondly, the other things that are imported and customizable on here are the report title right here. You can write in there Paul's best ADA report ever known to mankind. If you want that to be the title of your report, or ANSI or Fair Housing Act, or ADA only, not a CASp, whatever kind of terms you want to put, that section's totally customizable by you, as well as the project information comes through based on your input in the system here. Let me, all this down here, all this data right here, Jim's Taco Shop, the address, the type of evaluation that you're doing, the date of inspection, the inspector, all that's data inputted by you, as well as this cover letter here.
Actually, everything that you see here is customizable up and including the colors. Whether you have a band around it, whatever, the whole thing is customizable.
So that's the cover page of a typical report, and you know, we're interested in getting more people using it and seeing what other people need for reports. But we're using what Mark and I have used for several years that we think is good, and I'm sure it'll evolve over time. The second thing that usually comes is a cover letter. You don't have to have a cover letter, but you can have a cover letter, and you can have a default cover letter text that comes over every time, and then you can customize it on the fly. So if you have a typical cover letter that you always use that has some keywords that are you know, that you just change on the fly, you can do that. Let me highlight a couple things that the system brings across. Of it, it brings across your client and your client address and all that. Brings across the facility name, the facility address, and the date inspected. And then everything down in the down here is all, you know, you can have a template, default template, and then you can just click when you're getting ready to generate the report and customize it, and it'll float to additional pages. So if you want to add additional pages and embellish, you can. And again, down here, it also puts in it'll put in your custom signature or a default signature based on your name, as well as your architect license number, CASp number, whatever else you want to have down there in your signature title, you can have that.
You can upload your actual signature. It'll put that in there. If you decide not to, it'll just print your name down there. And up at the top, you didn't highlight that one. It says, Dear John Smith. The John Smith also comes in from setup.
Okay, so for some reason, somebody says they can't see the screen we're looking at. So we're everything looks like it's working on our end. We're sharing the PDF. Ron or Steve or Ronnie, can you guys see our screen okay? Oh, you only see Paul talking. Okay, what did we do here?
That's not.
Lovely. Well, on my end, let me stop the share here real quick, and I'm going to mute my video. And now I am going to reshare my screen. Okay, there we go. You should be seeing a PDF with a red box and some highlights. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. On my end, I had a green deal around my screen, and it was looking good. So just back up real quick for those of you that didn't see the cover letter. This is the cover letter we were talking about. Customizable logo, the address, the photo, the title of the report, and so forth. And then we had moved on to the second page, which was our customizable cover letter. Everything in yellow here comes across in the system when you create your valuation. And then everything in red here is customizable, and you can have a default template set and so forth in the system. So moving on to the second part, this is where what we call findings, or your barriers or your violations, whatever you want to call them. We call them findings. So this one in particular one's finding number 1. And you have a couple of variations in the finding that can be shown, particularly the one that everybody has a preference on, depending on their preference as a CASp or an ADA consultant, is the picture. You can have I'm going to show you a couple of examples here, but you can have a large picture or a picture with a figure and so on and so forth, and I'll show you those. But I wanted to start with the base report right here. And the second part that's only it is optional are these other fields right here. Mark, did you have something?
No, I was just going to say start there at the top where it says section A at the top. That's defined by the user, and we call that the area description. So you may have, 5 findings under section A, and it doesn't have to be section A. It could just say path of travel from the public way, whatever you want. And then you start listing your findings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next piece of that's in here is what we call the finding itself, which is right here. And this is all pick list based. So once we get into the system, you'll see that. But you'll tier through a couple different ways to find a barrier. But in this case, this one was there's no van accessible parking. And so rather than having to search the code, go through a PDF, make a copy of your building code and retype the code and so forth, you can use a pick list in the system for this particular barrier, which is no van accessible parking. And the system will bring over that text, and as well as a citation, which you can see right below. And in addition to that, the text is editable. So you can leave the default text that the system brings across, which is kind of like a master library of findings, if you will, but you can customize them you can tailor them for you and what you want to do. You can embellish on it, add to it, subtract. If you don't like it, pick a different one. It's all your preference.
Like this one, it'll show up the way it is, this finding, and you might want to add at the end of the first sentence. I can't read it. Okay. Parking stalls in the north, you might add in the north parking lot, or whatever, on the sunny side of the building, or whatever you want.
Exactly. These the citation always comes through, but you don't have to have it show up on your report, but it's always there. In addition, I'll show you in a minute, you have the option of showing the actual code text. So in this case, it's referencing 208.2. The report will actually take verbatim and put it in italicized letters, the actual code language, as an optional show on the report. This one here is an as-built. This is what we call, you can put in this case it says no stalls, but you might have a cross slope of greater than 2% on a walkway, and so you might want to put a range of slopes that you detected at that location. So you might say the as-built at that location was 2.5 to 3.8% slope.
Or the parking stall was 7'8".
Yeah, whatever your
wide.
Open edit for you to embellish on the finding. And we tried to make this easy, so as you pick your findings, you don't have to do a lot of editing, and then the as-built kind of ties it all together, and it builds your report for you. This budgeting range is controversial. You don't have to use it. Some people like it, some people don't. Particularly Mark doesn't like it. I do like it for my clients, so we have it there as an option. Again, you don't have to do it. It's just there if you need it, and you pick when you generate the report. You tell the system whether you want that or not, and
it's also customizable. You can change the range to whatever you want.
You can, and then the barrier ratings, another optional one and a source of controversy. These are the idea behind these are to provide the client a quick glimpse of whether or not this is something really cheap and easy to do, or if it's something very complex and it's not going to really benefit anybody. In other words, you might have a technical violation that's going to cost $1 million to remove, but they haven't even provided an accessible stall and a restroom yet. But we have some technical violation that's off an inch or something. Some people find that beneficial in their reports. Again, it's an optional thing that you can use, and there's various levels of those. And we're working on having that customizable. Right now, there's some default text in there, but not something you have to use, but it's available. Moving on here is this picture. Again, you got one big picture. The second variation, and my favorite, is this one. This is what we like as a typical report right here, and that is a small picture with a figure. I personally like to have the figures come across. We tried to pull most of them out of the actual code book, so especially for parking and signage, they're real helpful. You have a picture of the violation, you have a picture of what it should look like, and it helps your clients figure out what they need to do to get it into compliance. But same format, we have finding 2. We're in the same area right here. Now we have, if you notice, we have 3 different citations. This This citation only had 2 because it was a California. Oh no, this is California N80AS. This particular one is California and pre-supplement, post-supplement. So it's brought both those code sections
you need to
over.
Click between the 2 slower because I didn't even notice she changed it.
Oh,
that's finding 1 there.
Finding 1
Next one's finding 2.
Has 2 citations. Finding 3 has 3 here. So we'll get into that a little bit more on the citation and the barriers and all the different barrier standards that this system has. The next example here is the this is the one with the code language. So this one here shows, this is for a cross slope in a parking stall. So it's brought over the code citation, the actual text out of the code right here from 11B 502.4, and it also brought the actual code citation text from the 2010 ADAS. Again, both optional, and we're playing with the format on this a little bit, so it's going to look a little bit different, but it's essentially the functionality is there for you. Next one is a biggie, is multiple photos. So yes, you can
This is finding, by the way.
We're up to finding 6 here in a new section. Finding 6. So this particular one, we've chose to have a figure and a photo, and then we have additional photos. And you could have 200 photos for finding 6 if you wanted. You can drag and drop as many photos as you want into the system, and it'll just continue to print.
The top where it shows is finding 6.
Yeah, finding 6. Finding 6. So it'll just continue to print additional pages as you go. I stopped here. It's 1 short, but it essentially puts it 3 wide. And these can be figures too, which I'll show you in a minute. The other option is no photo and just 1 big figure. So this is you could just have 1 figure. Maybe I don't know why you wouldn't want to use photos, but maybe there's somebody out there that does. That's an option as well. And you could have a figure and then have all your accompanying photos on the second page. And you can see I've thrown some figures in here. Again, you could go all photos. Very flexible system for you. And the last variation right here is 2 figures with photos. And again, that's got the functionality. Then the next thing moving on to is, which is really cool, and we'll show you how this works, but let's say you've done a report in the system in April of 2016, and then in 2017 they call you back out to do a re-inspect. And you want to be able to track what they corrected. Maybe you had 25 items the first time, and when you went back out, they corrected them all but 5. You don't have to recreate the report. You can come in and change the status of the finding 5. You can see right here in the system, rather than having to recreate the barrier or the finding, you just go in and click it. You can put a note in the as-built or a note in the finding that says re-inspected. But it will actually track your progress and change that finding from from an actual finding to corrected, so you can reproduce the report to your client with an update, a year later, 2 years later, whatever it is, as that item being fixed. So very helpful for clients and so forth. There's another example of a parking lot one that's got the corrected tag on it. Moving on, the other part, if you choose to do what we call a civil code CASp evaluation report, even though there's no legal term for CASp evaluation report, but what we're talking about in terms of the whole CRASCA CASp program type of report, you have to have the notice to property owners and your determination and all that. This includes that documentation, and we are coordinating with DSA to make sure we're there, and we're interested in comments from others that do this all the time, and we think we have it right, but we want to make sure it's right. But it brings across your CAS certificate number, and then we can change this format and this layout. We also you can optionally have the tax incentive DOJ document that's out there. You don't have to print it out, but if you want it for your clients. And then we've also include common questions for readily achievable barrier removal. If this is applicable to your report, you can include this for your clients, which is real helpful. And it'll also do here pretty shortly to do a table of contents. So that's what the actual report produces. Okay, and that's what the system produces, is a PDF report that you can give to your clients. So you're probably asking, how does it do that? Let's go take a look at the actual system here. So this is the system. Once you've signed up, you create your login and everything, all that good stuff, just like if you're signing up for Netflix or something like that. And let me just drag this over here for a second so I can log in.
By the way, I want to say none of this resides on your computer. It's all cloud-based, so you can log in on virtually any type of machine.
Yeah,
from anywhere.
Any web browser, you can get to it. So the first thing you'll notice, this is again, I created a bogus evaluation here in company's called ADA Assurance. Your logo would show up right here. You would just, once you sign up, upload your company logo, and your company name would show up, your name. But if you had multiple evaluations here, it used geotagging and geo-based location logic to keep track of your evaluations. So I've done some up in Seattle and over in Florida, and if you look at my map, it looks like a pizza. It's all over the United States and a bunch down in Southern California and the Bay Area and so forth. And so it filters that. So as you build the system, you'll have more tags, and you can zoom in on an area, and it will filter you can see it right now. It's loading over here on the right. If I had multiple projects in this particular area on the map, it would then load those. And you can click on any tag, get information about it, and so forth. And this is the home screen where you start and start new evaluations or look up old ones. So it keeps all your evaluations in one spot. If we were going to create a new one, we would just go through here and create a new evaluation. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that because I've already created Jim's Taco Shop for today, which is the report we were looking at. So let's go ahead and go into the actual report here, or the evaluation. So this is the evaluation overview, and you can see right here the cover letter, or the cover photo, which is right here, is from, you can see it's pulling it from this spot in the system. Oops. So whatever photo you put here is what's going to show up in the front. This is where you keep track of pertinent information, occupancy, stories, year built, the type of inspection you're doing. I labeled this one as a CASp evaluation, but if you're doing an ADA, just an ADA survey or a multifamily survey, you could certainly change that, your inspection dates and so forth, as well as your inspector. And right here on the right, barrier standards. This is a biggie where you assign your barrier standards. So in this case, we've assigned the 2013 CBC pre and post supplement, as well as the 2010 ADAS. Let me show you the differences that we have in the barrier standards. We have loaded literally hundreds of standards here. So you could literally do a we're still building on it. It doesn't have everything, and we don't want to mislead you thinking that it has every single scenario for every standard and barrier out there. But we're working on it and building it. But yeah, you have the 2014 Florida Accessibility Code, the Oregon. If you're doing surveys in other locations in the United States, it's good to have these. We've got the IBC in there, and so any kind of barriers that you pick that reference those standards, it will print those. It will print those that text for you and apply that to your project. And what's really critical about this is if you're doing an ADA survey, you don't want to have a bunch of barriers showing up that aren't applicable. So in other words, like you don't want to have a bunch of 11A stuff showing up, when you're doing an 11B evaluation. And so that's where you define this to your evaluation, so that it filters properly. Someone said zoom out a little bit. I'm zoomed all the way out, so not sure, Ronnie, if I can get any more out. Hopefully that works for you. Moving on here, anything you want to touch on this?
No, that's good. This is just the
where you input
the background information for your evaluation. It's pretty self-explanatory, but let's get into the.
Let's get into the finding. This is where you actually build your barriers. So if you remember on the report here, the first barrier was this no event accessible, finding number 1. So you can see right here we are on finding number 1, and let's see if I can. Oops. There we go. So finding number 1 right there, and this is where we've actually built the where you keep track of all your findings and you start building your report. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new finding so I can show you how we find the barriers. I'm going to add one to. I'm going to go pick this restroom down here. We don't have any in section E, so I'm going to hit new. So it blanks out because now I've just created a new one in the restroom area. And again, you could customize this and change the name. And there's 3 ways to find barriers. There's what we call the barrier finder. There's also a barrier quick search, which is just a word search. And then there's also a checklist. So the first one I'm going to go over is a barrier quick search. If you're not sure what you're looking for and you just want to search all the text for a term, like one that comes up, you're always looking for say the blue border, and you're not sure where to find it, you can just type in blue border or blue, and there's an access file right here. You can kind of preview the finding, and it says the access blue is not outlined with a blue border. I like that one. I'm going to select it. Once I select it, it then brings over the finding right here. So this was the information that you saw in this section of the report, right in the finding, and again you can type in here and say yellow border. If I could spell, customizable. You can put your as-built right in here. 36 inch, whichever. So that was the quick search. The other way to find the barrier is using the barrier finder, and it starts with the group, and the idea behind this is we have thousands of barriers, and it's to get from the universe of barriers to down to a lower location. So we've got all these groups that kind of help you navigate down to what you're looking for. So I don't know, what are we looking for?
Pick a curb ramp.
Curb ramp. Okay, so we're going to pick something about a curb ramp. We know that. Okay. Next thing it does, what is it about the curb ramp that we're wondering about?
Slope.
Running or cross?
Let's go running.
Running slope. And it exceeds 8.33%.
That's what I'm looking at.
So bam, it brings that code across. It brought over the code citation. It brought over the 13 code citation. It also brought over a figure that applies to that. And that's probably the fastest way to find what you're looking for if you know what you're looking for. And again, the third, we'll go over the checklist in a minute. And then real quick, let me show, you can, let's add a photo real quick.
Tell him what you did. You went so quick.
Okay.
He always goes so quick, I can't hardly see what he's doing. So
So we want to add a photo.
Thank you.
We are going to add a photo to this screwed up curb ramp because it has a running slope of 36 inches
I
percent.
think you can see it with your mouse, but I don't know if they can. So yeah. Right there.
Okay, so I'm clicking on this edit button right here, and now it's asking us to upload photos. So you can use existing photos that you've already uploaded. You can upload a new photo, which is what I'm going to do. So you can click on it and go find it. Actually, that's what I'll do. I'll just go. Where is it here? Yeah. So I'm going to drag my photo right here. Doesn't have anything to the curb ramp, but you get the idea. Save. And then now the photo is attached to this finding here. Again, these right here. Let me these are optional right here. This barrier priority. Again, you don't have to use it if you need it. Okay, last thing is the checklist here.
Well, before you leave this, I think one thing that's really cool, especially to the big site, he's going to save this finding first, and then you notice a little map on the left. If you hit edit first, Paul, okay, I'm going to take over here, and then zooming all the way in on the location of this project right there. So it's got the little pin there right on the top of the building. On each finding, you can geotag. So he can grab that, click and hold it, and move it over to a particular parking stall. And I don't know if you can see at the bottom, but the longitude, latitude actually changed. And so when you save this, it'll show up on the map right there. That's exactly where this, whatever it is, curb ramp was a problem. And you save it and you're done. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah. So if you have a large,
you don't have to do it for every finding, but if you wish to, it's there to show. I mean, if you're doing a long stretch of sidewalk or big parking lot or something like that, and I got to say this too, because I think this is cool. We're currently working on, it should be available pretty soon, that you'll be able to take a floor plan and put it right on top of this Google map in the correct orientation. And then you'll be able to geotag it to a certain corridor, room,
floor,
stairway, floor, whatever. And it'll save it that way too.
Pretty slick stuff. So we're getting just about on 30 minutes here, so we're trying to finish up for you. The last thing we'd like to show, last thing with the findings we'd like to show you, and then we'll show you how we generate a report, and we'll hopefully can get it going here. Is the checklist. So let's say that you are adding a new finding to the section D for transaction counter. Oops, did it the wrong way. Right here in this section, section D. I don't know if you can see right here. There we go. So section D right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little checklist button. So instead of using the search button or the group, tiering barrier finder, I'm going to use a checklist. So now what it's done is it's already brought over some checklists into this evaluation based on the type of facility that it is. And you define that when you create the evaluation. So in other words, if you are doing a parking lot only evaluation, you don't want to have a bunch of bathrooms and, access aisles or seating checklists in there that you're never going to use. So it filters based on what you define when you create it. But in this case, I have these available checklists, or I can go select other ones. Is there any particular one you want me to pick, Mark?
Well, let's go parking lot.
All right, let's go parking lot. I'm going to hit select. And you're probably better at explaining this.
This is pretty simple. Again, this says section D because that's the one that Paul selected to begin with. But if you click anywhere in that box, the section box, you can actually say, oh, wait a minute, I wanted to be in section B parking lot, and select it there. And then hit next. And then you select this, whatever it happens to be. We're going to say it's a public accommodation facility. Next. And you pick how many parking stalls you want to say is in this lot. Next. And then you have these questions. Yes, no, how do we have this many?
Are there a minimum of 2 accessible stalls, including one van? I'm going to say there are no accessible parking stalls. How about that?
Okay. I got to tell you this. Paul mentioned earlier that this is works on a mobile app too. So if you're using the mobile app, which does not have to be connected to a Wi-Fi, by the way, if you're using a mobile app and you select anything that actually is a barrier, then it'll prompt you to take a photo. Otherwise, you'll just hit next. Go ahead and hit next. Okay, we've come to the completion of this, so then you'd hit save. And in this case, because we did parking lot, it's going to suggest other checklists that you may want to do because you did a parking lot, such as access aisle, parking signage, or parking spaces. So I don't know, also you can see too at the bottom, there's a little circle there. And each of them say 0. That means you haven't used that checklist yet. If you have, then it would say 1. By the way, you can use these checklists multiple times. You can use the access aisle checklist for 15 different access aisles, all with issues within one parking lot. They're certainly reusable. Anyway, so again, I won't go through all of these. It's just that's just about it. So the checklists end up. Did we answer any questions?
Yeah, we did.
Right so here. You can show them how this works here.
Yeah. Too. So right here, it brought us back to the. We completed the checklist, and now we're back in our findings screen, which let me pick here, so that way it looks a little bit normal again. So we're back on finding 1 of 10 now, and now you'll see over here on the right, you'll see there's something in red, and that's because you've added an item that is in came from a checklist, and it wants to remind you to review it. It also says it up here.
The reason it's asking you to review it is because you didn't get to see, like you do on this screen, what the finding text is and everything. So you may want to edit it. So it's just telling you by way of red text that this is one you may want to look at. So look at it. You can add the as-built. You can also, didn't show you that, but you can add the as-built within the checklist. So Paul's editing this one. And then once he saves it, you'll see that it this item will turn black, showing that it's on the right-hand side. He's going to add a picture real quick. Drag, drop. Save it.
Now,
and once he saves it, you can see it turned black. Now, so showing that, it's, you checked it out. It's cool. Off we go.
So in summary, we were able to add findings or barriers or violations to this project, Jim's Taco Shop, by the barrier, this tiering option, by the quick search, which is just a word search, and also by the checklist. So you have 3 different ways to add barriers to create your report, and we think it works pretty good. It's pretty good little system for that. Once you've created all your findings, whether you've had 10 or 200, whatever it is for your project, and you've massaged all the data and the figures and the photos and got everything how you want it, now it's time to generate the report, which I showed you earlier. So we're going back out of the findings screen over to the overview screen, and we're going to click evaluation report, because we are going to create a report. And now we have to define the things we want in the report. And it automatically brought up Jim's Taco Shop because I was there. And now it's asking you to select the report title. So I'm going to pick a California one. But again, if you wanted to, say, Paul is great.
Which I doubt you'll ever want to say that.
We could do that. And then right here, the report section. So do I want a cover letter? Yes. See, and as soon as I selected that, it opened up the default cover letter text, which I'm going to edit here in a minute. The next thing it's asking me is, do I want the notice to property owners? Because it's a CASp evaluation. It's asking me if I want to include that. I'm going to say yes. Do I want the DOJ tax incentives? Do I want the barrier removal Q&A? And the last thing it does is also does a timeline report, for your clients when you're doing a CASp, that we think is pretty cool. It'll generate a self fill-in for your clients to fill out the timeline that's required under the civil code for a CASp. So I'm going to include that too. And I know you guys are probably having millions of questions right now, so but that's all good. So anyway, and then right here is where I would, if I wanted to embellish, on the cover letter here, I could. You can change it right on the fly as you're creating the report. It's already brought over all the pertinent project data into my letter, merged. And then down here, I just checkbox. What do I want to include in my report? It's asking me first if I want to include the corrected findings. Remember the blue watermark that went across? If I wanted those in there, I would check that box. If I want to include the as-built, remember the as-built where you put the 2.5% or 36 inches, you can include that. The budgeting range, I don't want that. I do want the citation figure, which remember is this right here. So it's basically asking you if you want that. It's asking you if you want the as-built right there. So that's what these two are. And it's also asking if you want the citation text and the barrier rating. And also it's asking if you want it to include additional photos. So I'm going to include that. And then I'm going to say save to the evaluation. I'm going to save it. It also emails you the report. So, which is handy because if you want to email it directly to a client, you can. But now it's generated the report. If I go over to my documents section, I will now see there is a brand new, just created evaluation report along with any other documents. This document section keeps track of, I have floor plans in here, contract. You can have all your documents related to this evaluation in this one project here.
Really easy to upload whatever you like. There's a button right at the top left that says upload documents. You just click on that and drop whatever you want into there.
So I am just showing you, I just created this report on the fly with you guys, and I'm showing you right here. It's the same name, ends in a 114, that it's the same document. I just downloaded it to my desktop. So I'm going to open it up. Hopefully it turned out right. I'm going to bring it over. Looks very similar to the one that I showed you earlier, but now it has Paul is great here. So you guys know that was done. It has the cover letter with all my jumble josh there. And then this one I didn't include the budget range, and I didn't include the barrier rating, so that didn't show up. So that's it. There's that trash can we created in there. I think we did that's the no accessible parking, the one we did with the checklist right there. So that's it. I think we got the timeline report in here too. Let's see what that looks like. There it is. There's our timeline report. Estimated timeline report for barrier removal. Again, if this was a CASp, the idea here is that it lists all the findings or the barriers you found on a site, and then you have the client fill in their dates and send that back to you in compliance with the civil code.
Yeah. By the way, at the very bottom, you can see right there in the gray box, it brings in your name and address right there.
Your company, yeah.
It automatically does that. We'll put your stuff where to send it to when they're done.
So a couple quick points in summary is, this is not a system that's, designed for someone who's a total brand new novice. I mean, if you're doing CASp reports, obviously, you got to have that knowledge. But if you're doing an audit, an ADA, an accessibility audit, out of state, anything like that, it works great for that. And you also, you've got to have some basic knowledge of access, but it certainly streamlines it. And it's not intended to, do everything for you by any means. I mean, if you're a competent CASp or consultant or something, and you put good data into your current system, your current Word doc, Excel, whatever system you're using, you're going to get good data out. Same thing with this. Good data in, good data out. If you're, if you're not very versed at accessibility and you don't do a very good report in Word or Excel, the same thing's going to happen here. It definitely helps you with your process and having everything in one spot, but it's not it's not the end all be all by any means. We're not claiming that to be. And then the mobile app is really the last thing we wanted to touch on real quick, and it really is truly I think we got a picture. There's a picture of it right there of the, it's an Android app. It's available on the Google Play Store right now, and you can download that. And that's really ideally where the checklists shine, because you could literally create your project on your desktop in your office, upload your evaluation to your mobile device, and then go out to your site and capture some pictures. I'm a little bit of a hybrid. I probably will do a lot of stuff my old way and but I see myself when I get into those things that are not very common that you need a checklist for. Like I can never remember all the shower stuff or bathtubs,
bathtub grab bars and stuff. But the mobile app, I got to say, works not only with the checklist, but it also has the barrier finder in both forms too. So, and my eyes aren't very good, but I have a very, I don't know what version or whatever, but it's a kind of a normal size
Samsung, I think it is.
Samsung phone, and I can see it just fine out in the field. In fact, I just did an evaluation Saturday in the pouring down rain in well, in a local city, I won't say where, but
Careful.
and it just worked great. You know, you go through it, boom, 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 ask for your pictures. You know, if you do something, it'll, you know, do you want a picture? Yes. Comes up, photo comes up, you see it, you like this one? Yes. Do you want to take another one? No. And boom, 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 you just go right through. It was really, really slick. And you know, you just sync before you leave, and it knows all the jobs that you have open, so it'll sync all those jobs to your you know, your phone or your tablet or whatever you're using. And then once you leave, you don't need, you could be in the middle of the desert or 4 stories down in the basement, and you just bring everything through onto your phone or tablet, and when you get back in Wi-Fi range, you just hit sync and boom, it's all back up on your portal version on your desktop.
Cool. And one last thing here for support, once you're in the system, you hit this question mark, because they're, you know, it's not a perfect system. There may be bugs or something not working or you need help with. You can fill it out.
No bug.
There's a support thing right here. Also, we have a BlueDAG video channel on YouTube that has a lot of demos on there that you can review. You don't have to. You can just Google that on or YouTube that, and you can find that. Or if you need a link, let me know. I can send it to you. And the last thing is we are offering it. You know, it's up for sale. You know, if you want it, it's available. We're offering some discounts right now. It's a monthly subscription, or you can pay yearly. You get the first 30 days free. So we encourage everybody to sign up, use it and abuse it. Try it out.
Yeah, it's 30 days, no obligations, a better way to say it. So you can download it and beat it up for 30 days. And
cancel.
if you don't like it, which I'm sure you will, but if you don't, you just hit cancel and it's done. Your credit card doesn't even get charged.
So that's it. Thank you for joining us. Anybody who is interested and, you know, or wants to talk, you know, feel free to give me or Mark a call. I wish I should have brought up our phone number. But most of you know how to get a hold of us. Give us a call. We'll give you a personal demo or meet you at your office if you're in the Sacramento area. Do a live webinar like this just with you. You know, we want to get it out there and get people using it and get your feedback. So thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Sorry it went about 15 minutes over, so or maybe 5 minutes, so 10 minutes. All right, thanks again. And unless actually, does anybody out there have a microphone that wants to ask a question or chat or any chat questions? I think I've unmuted everybody, so if anybody wants to ask a question, you're more than welcome to. Unmute all. So everybody's unmuted. Okay, here's a question. Can you generate a summary of violations?
Yes. That's done through, you can do, each violation has issues associated with it that you can or cannot use if you choose. And so you can generate reports that say you have 25 issues with sloped concrete, or you have 15 issues with door pressure or whatever. I hope that's what you're asking.
And then Brian asked, can you produce a priority with budget report? Right now, we certainly could. The data's in there. If you fill out the budgeting and the barrier priority, we could certainly do that. But that's encompassed in the report that we've given you. If you want some kind of a different looking report, there's nothing currently built in that does that other than what we've shown you. But
it's not
difficult to do.
Information's there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it could certainly be done when the data's in there and tracked, and it's just a matter of mining it out. And I believe we have some export options, so we might even be able to export the data out in like an Excel spreadsheet at a minimum. And then, but if we need a pretty version, we could definitely get that too. And those are the kinds of feedbacks we need. Mark and I are doing this how we think it's worked for us, but we know there's other people using and doing different things, and so that's good feedback from Brian and ADAIP. The other one is a recording available of this webinar for folks who could not make it today? Yes, there is a. I did record it, and it is recording right now, and I will put we will put that on that YouTube channel, the BlueDAG. If you search YouTube for BlueDAG software, we'll post it up there. I'll try to get it up either today or my IT guy's actually gone today and tomorrow, but I'll try to get it up there as soon as I can for you guys. Oh, ADIP. That's right. That's Ron. All right, all good stuff. Other questions? All right. Well, looks like nobody else has any other questions. So thanks again, and feel free to give Mark or I a call or sign up, and no obligation, and get us your feedback and let us know how it's working. And thank you, and have a great day.
Have a good day.
All right, guys. Thank you.